Early this morning, I finished Yinka, Where's Your Husband? And I came to this book to begin with from her second book that I enjoy. No, I enjoyed it. It was a five-star read to me, even though it was so. Like, I got so much secondhand embarrassment from reading that I went to church the next day because it was a Saturday, and I'm just like, I need to go to church tomorrow. But um, this book is similar, but whereas that book, the main characters weren't particularly Christian, they would mention church here or there, or like culturally church, but they weren't. The main characters weren't overtly Christian. And this one, Yinka and her family, but Yinka in particular, is a Christian, and there are assumptions she makes about just other people claiming they're Christian. It she assumes that it's a given, and other people are living differently than her and calling themselves Christian. But there's so much cursing in this, just casual cursing, like even in church. This girl lies in church. She, which she lies everywhere, but she lies in church. She curses in her head in church, and like she's just there's so much cursing that it's not like the rewrite didn't have cursing, but those characters weren't professing Christianity to the degree that Yinka does. And like the inciting incident in this book is her whole family praying for her, or praying for her to have a husband, and that like embarrassing her so much that she goes on this whole journey, and it's just it it's it's not a 5 star to me like the rewrite was. I enjoy Lizzie's writing, but not the cursing parts, and not the sex parts. But this book, I was gonna say it technically does. It's like, no, it has sex parts. It's not like the rewrite does. But this is just, I have to read something that doesn't have as much cursing, and I've moved on to um my next book, which does have cursing, but not as many times as this book. And it's just not, it's not even Christian. Uh, there, anyways, the cursing amount in this book, and just, I think I related more to the rewrite because it was an author and we were getting to see her writing process more. Whereas this, she's, um, I think, an operations manager for an investment bank, or like in the beginning part at least. And that's what she's pursuing. But all these things, uh, like, aside, I didn't, this didn't end up how I thought it would. Not that I thought, like, I was a little cautious reading this because I'm like, just because you're single doesn't mean, I also thought she would be older, but just because you're single doesn't mean you have to get married. And I didn't know if this was going to be just, how she found her husband, but it, there are characters that I was like well into the book that I was like, I took a pause and I'm like, I'm gonna go read the acknowledgement. And she's mentioning all these characters that haven't been introduced yet. And I'm like, is this the same book? Have we just not met these characters? Because she's like treating them like main characters. And there were, their name hasn't been mentioned. And I'm like, maybe halfway through the book. But anyways, I went back to reading the book and I finished it, and it didn't go the way I thought it was gonna go. It's like, it's fine how it got wrapped up, but this one doesn't have as tight and fast of pacing as the rewrite does. But yeah, it, I don't want to do stars, but I had done 5-star for the rewrite, which that was an art copy, so I may have been overly gushing under pressure, but I don't I think I just enjoyed that book more, which it has more cursing and more explicit open scenes, open door scenes, but this book I I was reading this book because I read the other book. I'm like, well, I love this one so much. Maybe I should go and read her first book. And her first book just wasn't quite her second book. And she's getting better as she goes along. Although her characters, it's like this character gets therapy. But spoiler, this character gets offered therapy at all. In the second novel she wrote, the character needs therapy and doesn't get offered the opportunity like Yinka does, and it's just I all of her character her main characters seem to be liars, poor decision makers, confused, but like it's told in a real way. Like I don't know if British Christians just curse more frequently. It's not like American Christians in certain areas don't also do this, but so much cursing. And like I just I just need a palate cleanser to not be constant cursing. So after I finish the audiobook that I'm listening to, I'm going to Melanie Sellier books because I need to get away from all this cursing. But it it's a story, it comes together. It's not what I expected. It's it's told over a period of I think 6 months. I I believe it's 6 months. But yeah, it's it's readable. I would recommend it if you can handle like all the cursing, but the second book has much more frequent cursing, but it's just having a Christian main character be so just casual. Casual with some things, strict on other, following the tenets of Christianity for some things, and then just the amount of lying and just Lizzie writes realistic in a way that I think she will continue to do, and hopefully her continued writing, hopefully it will be like I will still read a Lizzie book, but I if the cursing gets just out of control in the third one, I think I'm gonna have to shelve consistently reading it. But that's my value as a Christian, and maybe maybe that I was gonna say maybe there's an American edition that they're like, well, we need to add more cursing, but it may have been toned down for us. I don't know. Maybe nothing changed, but yeah, I would recommend this, but with with just the biggest caveat of if you can handle Christians cursing and lying and just yeah,